I met the man that later, the boy that later became my husband. And so it has a very special significance to me. I never dreamed that this was going to happen, but that's what did, good many years later on. I think that the riding costume I have on is something else too. You can see that well, as a matter of fact, women didn't wear pants very much, and oftentimes they wore a skirt, a divided skirt riding instead of pants. Well, here I have pants on, and I don't have riding boots. I have regular shoes, and can't even remember what we call those things that came over our legs. But anyway, it's a very different costume from what you see today. And I think that scarf I have on was one that one of the boys had, and that's what was our big idea, to get a silk scarf that they wore. And I finally got the one that belonged to my husband's. We were just there for a week, but it was a lot of fun. Speaking about girls' schools, I went to a boarding school for 3 years, and then I went to Smith. And personally, it was the right thing for me. I think there are other girls that wouldn't feel that way, but it was the right thing for me. And one of the reasons that I believe in an all-women's college is because I believe that it's right for many girls. I was able to do things and accomplish things that I wouldn't have been able to, I believe, in the coeducational school, because I was able to prevail more there than I think if I'd been in competition with men. And I learned a great many things at Smith besides just what I learned out of the books. I've had a great deal of fun doing dramatics. I didn't do any acting, but I did stage building and planning, costuming, advertising, and all that sort of thing, publicity, and I learned a great deal. I also did some things in sports. I was never very good in sports, but I did some things there. And I had friends who I got to know extremely well. In my senior year, I was in a house with 30 girls, all of whom are my very good friends. And we've kept up all through these years, which would be like a sorority, I suppose, in the coeducational school. But I was vice president of my class junior year, and I had other class offices. I don't believe that ever in the coeducational school I would have been able to do that. Those things gave me self-confidence, which I needed, because I was rather I was rather shy, although it didn't seem to be. I really was underneath. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, I'll put it that way. Well, I think there's a kind of a plan, some kind of a plan which we don't understand, because I think it's happened to me so often that people have come in and out of my life. It can't always be a coincidence, particularly in the way that my husband and I came together. And it just seems sometimes as though things are more or less meant to be. And why that is, I don't understand at all, but I can accept it as a fact easily enough, because it's happened too many times to me. My husband and I met at Los Alamos, and I didn't see him again until we were in college. He had told me when he was there that he was going to go to Dartmouth, and I said I was going to Smith. And he had a cousin in my class, and that cousin and I met. And I wrote to him, he wrote to me, and then everything dropped. And I didn't see him again until I was working at Macy's in New York City, and he happened to be working in New York too. And he wasn't working in New York, he was at Columbia University, he was at the business school. And he was working weekends, just weekends at Macy's. And I ran into him, much to our surprise, we recognized each other. And got together and had supper one night, and then we had dinner another night. And then it dropped again, because he was interested in somebody else. As a matter of fact, he later got practically engaged to this girl. But then we came together again. So these are things that have happened to me, not just with him, but with other people too. There seems to be a kind of a network, and people come back and forth into my life, and it's always had a very special meaning. There's been some really good reason for it. We had our first child after we'd been married for 2 years, and that was Charlotte, who was the oldest one, and she was a very healthy child. My babies were all very healthy babies, fortunately. And she was 13 months old when my second baby was born. And he lived to be only 3 months old and died of crib death. And after that, I was always apprehensive about the babies. I never looked at a baby asleep, and I never have since, that I didn't really have almost a cold chill, because the night that the baby died, I had gone up to check on him, and he looked as though he was asleep. So that it did some really drastic things to me, changed my whole life, changed my whole way of thinking. I had learned that life was very fragile when I nearly lost my life in an automobile accident. But this wasn't just for me, this was for my children. So I was always apprehensive about my children. And when my oldest child had polio very badly, and she was completely paralyzed, all I could think of was that I was going to lose her too. And I certainly prayed to whatever powers there were, just to spare her, and I would do everything I could in my power to restore her to health. And so all during Charlotte's illness and her recuperation and so forth, which was a matter of about 5 years, it was very easy for me because I had her, and I knew what it would be not to have her. I think it makes a lot of difference in the kind of experience that you've had in life, so that probably losing a baby or losing a child made me realize that the thing that mattered most in life was to have life. After George was born, our second child was Barbara, and I had a very difficult time, because I felt that I still had something of a guilt complex about my baby. I think mothers do, under the circumstances that my child died. And I thought maybe I wasn't the right kind of a person to be a mother, that I somehow or other had not done all I could do. Although I knew that I had, but I just didn't have that confidence in myself. But Barbara was a very healthy baby, and a very good baby, and she was always an easy child, and except that she was extremely shy, and that made it a little bit difficult too, because Charlotte was very outgoing, and it was very difficult to have a shy child for me, because I wasn't. And I thought she was missing out a great deal because she was. Then when my son was born, my second son, that would seem like a special gift, because it was a boy to carry on the Peabody